existing companies here. For what reason? And this is why it's apples and oranges. The Microsoft issue was not to give Microsoft some sort of tax break. We found out that we were one of a couple states competing for what could be a third or half $1 billion investment in Iowa come here. And so we wanted to say, we're serious about having these jobs here and having you come here. We'll create something which won't cost the state of Iowa a penny unless you come here and create all this economic development opportunities. So we were in the hunt to get this company. That's the purpose we passed that bill. It's different than saying we want to have programs for existing companies here. When you're in the hunt for a major company, you might want to do some things to lure them here. That's the nature of the game right now for economic development around the country. States are competing against one another. So that's why we did that, not for just pure economic development purposes in general.
But in retrospect, this is going to be a campaign issue because we've already heard these advertisements in which you're being criticized for giving a tax break to one of the world's wealthiest.
There is some phantom group running ads against Governor Culver about signing the so-called Microsoft bill, a bill that passed out unanimously in the Senate and 99-1 in the House. I think it would be a little difficult to turn that into a legislative. What was the vote in the Senate?
Dearden voted against it at least one.
So virtually unanimous.
So Christopher is taking on the position of a liberal Democrat. Okay. Well, here's the other point. If Republicans are going to use that argument, then they have to, they'll have to be throwing stones at their own glass house. And you know, the bottom line is, when we've had economic opportunities in this state, and we don't have to go far in Sioux City. All we have to do is say 3 words: Wells, Blue Bunny. We created special incentives for them. I remember sitting in what is now my office, but at the time Speaker Rance's office, with Mike Blumen and Governor Vilsack and Republican and Democratic leaders talking about getting an agreement so that we could guarantee that Wells Blue Bunny would stay up in Northwest Iowa, creating the tax incentives, creating 500 to 600 new jobs that were paying $50,000, $60,000 a year jobs. We agreed to all that because we agreed that it was the right thing to do for Northwest Iowa. It was an opportunity for that community to grow and keep a well-established company there. Now, all right, we've been ahead a few years and Democrats are in control and now they're arguing against it. There's 3 reasons that these companies are looking at this state. One is water, second is our power capacity, and the third is the dark fiber. If it wasn't for 3 things that we've planned over the last 20 years in this state, we wouldn't have Microsoft or Google coming here, or Microsoft looking at the state of Iowa, and we're basically down to 1 of 2 sites in the country. So, you know, they can argue against it, but the other part too is they didn't vote against it. So, and I think the reason why is they see the opportunity to create jobs, great jobs, and then also have the spin-off for it. This used to be the argument everybody had in this room that, well, these are the liberal Democrats that don't believe you should be giving rich people a handout. But the other part too is if it creates an economic incentive that we start creating hundreds of jobs in the state and that they pay good and people can get good jobs graduating out of a region universities, all of a sudden nobody has any questions about it. And that's what we're focusing on, what we can do to grow the state. And it's a one-time deal. It's good till December 31st. And if Microsoft does not come to Iowa, we're not out anything. So I don't see it as a poor investment.
Is it still a secret location that they're contemplating?
I don't know what they're talking about. Everybody's guessing. You know, there's probably about 4 or 5 communities I would guess at in the state. But yeah, it's basically 4 or 5 communities I would guess that are along Interstate 80. And because of the issues that are coming up with the siting bill that we reached a bipartisan agreement in 2001, and where we're at now with Microsoft, I think it's probably 3, 4, maybe 5 sites that would locate in Iowa, or if we get it. Yeah.
Hopefully my district.
Nick?
And hopefully mine.
The governor had several events yesterday regarding beverage container food redemption. A couple of weeks ago, we said that the whole thing was off the table. Where does that stand?
Okay. Well, Donovan Olson got it out of the Environmental Protection Committee, and Donovan understands it's an uphill battle, but he decided that he wasn't going to let the issue go, which that's the job of the committee chair, especially with his record on environmental issues. Donovan's one that will help us push the envelope. The catch is seeing whether or not we can put enough votes together there, and if we can't there, to see if there's some other kind of compromise, whether it involves a bottle bill or not, to do more stuff on environmental policy, REAP funding, and to push forward those issues. So, I mean, we'll see whether or not we have enough votes to take it up on the floor, but I'm very skeptical because we tried, and Donovan even understands that last year when we tried it, we got that bill out of committee, but there wasn't enough votes to do it on the floor, and we may be in that same position this year.
Next week's filing deadline for candidates, what kind of shape do you guys think you're in, and are you expecting any surprises? I hate playing my cards until I have to. Here's the way I'll answer it. We feel as if we're going to have 50 incumbents filing for re-election, and we're going to have all of our targeted seats filled. In fact, we already have all those candidates. And we have people also in other districts that we think will be very, very competitive. We feel very optimistic that we can win. They have 10 retirements that are announced. We feel very optimistic that we have a shot at 5 or 6 of those seats. And we feel the opportunity to pick those seats up. We feel like we can comfortably defend 2 of our 3 seats. We think we'll keep Representative Yoakum and Representative Wise's seat. But we also feel very optimistic with the candidate we got with Gretchen Lawyer. So we think we're going to keep our 53 seats where we're at right now. Some of our people in our tougher districts have announced for re-election. They're very energetic. They're very energetic about what we've done over last year and so far this year and what we're going to try to achieve yet this session. So we feel real good. I don't want to say what our number is going to be, but it'll be comparable to the number of seats that we had 2 years ago. You have,
and we had, I think, 85 people.
You'll have Harkin near the top of the ticket to potentially help you out. Who do you want to see at the very top of the ticket?
I want to see at the top of the ticket 2 things. One, a person that can win. And number 2, they don't have to be a white male. So there's 3 reasons. But the third thing for me, it's very parochial, but I want the candidate that's going to invest the most in Iowa. And one of the things I think that was missing, and I can say this because I was the minority leader, I wouldn't have said it at the time, but I will say it now. I think one of the problems that the Kerry campaign had, and the reason they didn't win Iowa, was they didn't work with some of us the way I think they should have in 2004 on the coordinated campaign and the canvassing effort that was done. Senator Gronstal and I have spoken to all the campaigns and told them that this needs to be a huge investment. So hopefully, if we can get them to participate as much as we think they should, I don't care as long as they can win. It really is.
Barack Obama won Iowa. He invested heavily.
Let me add this: if we'd had Al Gore, I don't think we'd be in Iraq. I don't think we'd be in Afghanistan. And I don't know if we'd had 2 recessions in the last 7 years. So I really do believe there's a huge difference, and the outcome that occurred 7 years ago, we've been paying a price for. And so I really do. I'm just one of those people that say I want a Democrat elected. I think we deserve a shot after what Bill Clinton did for 8 years. Just give us a chance to show that 8 years again.
I want to make a comment on you're talking about basically this November's election and who's at the top of the ticket. Let me tell you a larger sea change that's occurred in our politics. And when you saw the release from the Secretary of State, the 43,000 additional Democrats who have now either switched from Republican or no party to become a Democrat or are newly registered Democrats. But let's talk about where they're at. Christopher Rance said a couple weeks ago on the Iowa Press that it's about swing districts in terms of control of the Iowa House. And I'd agree. And we're finding that disproportionately the sea change is benefiting Democrats in our swing district. Let me give you one example. Mahaska-Poweshiek County is Representative Eric Palmer's seat. We've done an analysis of his district. Now that's a district where 100 votes is a lot because it's a pretty strong swing district. When Eric lost to Danny Carroll 4 years ago, it was by a couple hundred votes. And then when he won this last time, it was about 300 or 400 votes he won by. So that's 100 votes is a lot in that district. Since January, he has picked up 698 new Democrats in that district. 698 new Democrats. That's tremendous. That's tremendous. And that's occurring in other swing districts as well.
He feels things bad. You don't care. Just want to just top.
No, and just to give you a little bit of humor, in our caucuses, just to have fun and rev people up, the last few weeks, when it looks like Obama really had the momentum, and we would end every caucus where I or Pat would yell, "Fire it up," and then the caucus would say, "Ready to go."